I think right around the half marathon mark, it split off. And that's when it kind of hit on. It's like, we still got a long ways to go. And I'm a middle of the packer at best. He started cramping up pretty good. It's like salt, kind of low on salt. And my legs hit, started hurting pretty good. So I would chew gum during my training. I would always chew gum. I don't know if it was like just tension or just kept my mind off my legs or whatever. Anyways, mile 17, I hear this crunch and I lost my back tooth. So I spit my tooth out and my buddy looks at me and is like, what is that? Like, what's going on here? I'm like, I just lost my tooth. Let's get this done. So.
This is your host, Brendan, and you're listening to the Ordinary to Ultra podcast. This podcast is all about helping you run your first ultramarathon and beyond. Tune in to hear new and experienced ultra runners share how they got into running in the first place, what inspired them to run an ultra, training and race day tips, and the gripping story of their first ultramarathon. Prepare yourself to be inspired as you hear stories of grit, sometimes failure, but ultimately triumph when our guests finally cross the finish line. What's up, Eric? Thanks so much for being here today, dude. We're super excited to hear about you and your journey to your first 50K ultramarathon, man.
That's awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
For sure, dude. Eric, before we get into things, would you mind introducing yourself just briefly? Like, your name, how old you are, where you're from, what your family looks like, stuff like that.
Yeah, my name's Eric. I'm 34 years old. I live right around an hour south of Kansas City. Really small town, like 900 people, I think. I'm from an even smaller town, around 300, so I've kind of migrated up, moving up. I have a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter. And my wife is in the other room with them right now, so they're going down for a nap.
Awesome. A nap?
Yeah.
Is it not bedtime right now?
Yeah. It is bedtime. They're going out for bedtime.
Okay, cool.
They skip nap time sometimes. They're getting rowdy.
Late nap, dude. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're in the awkward phase for any listeners that have kids. There's like that phase where your kids are like they're like growing out of the naps, but they're not like quite done with the naps. It's absolutely terrible.
Oh yeah. If there's something going on, especially our son, he'll power through and not sleep. Too much going on, too busy.
Yeah. That can be helpful, and then also a nightmare when they are so grumpy after.
Oh yeah.
It's great. Eric, I'd love to get into your running history. So when did you start running and why? Why did you start running?
It's history's pretty short. I wasn't athletic in middle school or high school. I didn't do any running or track or anything. And I started running in 22. So I'm pretty new to this too.
Sick.
Mm-hmm. It kind of rooted.
Well, that's when I started.
Oh, cool. Very cool. I wish I'd started sooner, but I guess better late than never kind of thing. So time's right. So I think it's meant to happen.
Right.
It started in 2021. I started archery hunting in 2020 and I harvested my first, my white-tailed deer in 21. And, I had a really good friend come and help me, with the retrieval and all that. And I realized how out of shape I was. And I was like, man, I was about a half a mile or so into the woods. And, I'm supposed to be a man. I'm 31 at this time and I can't hardly, get this thing out of here. So I, started running in 22. We have there's almost a quarter-mile loop, at a park in front of my house. And I said, I'm going to go out and try to run around that one time. Nope. I made it maybe half of a loop on there and just got winded really bad. I kind of started picking some trees here and there and doing that thing. And I finally made a loop on it. And that was, thought that was cool. Now I can do that about all day. It's crazy. Short amount of time, really. I signed up for my first 5K. It was a charity run. Still my favorite run, probably always going to be my favorite run to help support families whose children have cancer bills go toward the bills and stuff. That was fall, August or September of that year. I ran that 5K. So I kind of like everyone does at the beginning. I started out way too fast, and then I ended up walking the last half of it. And that was kind of my journey, honestly. After that 5K, kind of took off from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it all started with you wanting to like be to have more endurance while hunting.
Yeah,
really.
endurance.
Like, that was the goal of running for you.
Endurance was the big thing. I got winded so quick. I didn't really, realize I'm out of shape until I tried doing something fairly physical,
Yeah, I mean, dragging a deer out of the woods is pretty physical.
I had a great friend who came to help me. Otherwise, I would have been in some trouble. But it made the story all that better, though.
Yeah, good stories at least. Yeah. When you hauled deer out, like how far did you have to haul this deer to get to your car or whatever?
I was right at half a mile. The thing was, it was September here, and so the grasses are real tall. So I was in, at some points, chest-high prairie grasses that no one has touched or mowed, for a year. So it's hard to walk through, hike through just with your gear and stuff.
Yeah, hard to walk through.
Kind of hold my bow above my head and walk. Yeah. So the haul out was pretty. It was pretty tough for me. They make these game carts. It's basically like a dolly for moving appliances. That kind of thing helps. We use that too.
Mm-hmm. And that can get through the grass?
Kind of. It has about 15-inch tires. At some points, you're looking back, and then the wheels are up in the air because the weeds are pushing over the axles, and it's just kind of like a sled at that point, a glorified heavy sled. Yeah, they have sleds too. They do that with us. Maybe a sled would work better.
Okay, man, that's really cool. That's really cool that running, it started as a means to help you out in another sport, which is super cool. I'm sure there's lots of other people who start that way too. And you mentioned this 5K. Was the 5K enjoyable, or was it like terrible and you didn't like it? What did you like running at that point? No.
I don't.
What was that like?
I don't think I liked running at that point. I didn't know what I was doing. It was enjoyable for about 1/10 of a mile, and I seen everyone leave me. And then it became just pretty miserable, a grind. Everything hurt. And I wasn't trained properly. And I'm like, man, this is tough. And all those, gals ahead of me, I was like, how do they do that?
No fair. Totally, dude. So what happened after this 5K? If you didn't like it so much, then I don't know what led to your next steps
after that 5K. You've maybe heard about. I know you've heard about Goggins and his Cameron Haynes. He does all that stuff way at a higher level, and I started following him. I'm like, that's really cool. And, kind of copycatting him. I started before I kind of found out about him. I think my wife's the only one that can vouch for me. And that's when I read his book, Endure, and, he talked about the ultras, and then I learned about, Courtney Dauwalter and, Goggins doing these things. So I started looking up ultras, and then I thought I probably should start with the 50K.
Dang. Okay. So sorry to interrupt you. So you went pretty much from this little 5K to reading some books, and then you're like, I'm going to do 50K. Like, you're like, I'm going to go straight for that.
I did skip a lot here. I'm sorry about that. I ran a marathon before that.
Okay, cool. I mean, but okay, did you sign up for your 50K before you signed up for the marathon, or did you know you were going to do a 50K before you even signed up for the marathon?
No, I didn't have any plans on doing a 50K.
Okay.
I thought it was,
Okay.
I didn't know it was attainable.
Okay, so
I skipped a bunch there. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so you did. Oh no, you're okay, dude. Yeah, we can back up. So, did you read the book, and then sign up for your marathon, or did you do the marathon before?
Yeah,
having read.
I read the book and then signed up for the marathon.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that's all in order. You read this book, the Goggins. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know you said you listened to some episodes of the podcast, but many a people on the podcast reference Goggins as an inspiration for getting into this, and that's an awesome thing. That he's kind of making that wave, helping people realize they can do hard things. That's sweet. So you signed up after reading this book for a marathon, without even ultras in your mind, really. At that point, you're aware of them, but you're like, I'm going to do a marathon first.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you do any smaller races that led up to this marathon, or did you pretty much just get training for the marathon?
I did. The marathon was October of last year, so I had all summer. I started with the local. It was very close to our place. It was a 15-mile trail run. So I done that and completed it. And then it was about 4 weeks later, I done a 20-mile trail race. And then after that, then I went to the marathon that fall. So I did hit 2 trail runs, pretty big ones before then. So I was kind of creeping up on that 26 miles.
Yeah. So those were great training runs pretty much for that marathon. And let's see, you said you did a half and then a 20-miler and then the marathon.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
And what was the timing of those again? So you had half marathon and then when was the 20-miler? And then when
I did
when was the marathon?
It was a 15-miler, and that was, I think I was a little bit over 3 hours on that. I think I was 3 hours and 10 minutes or so. I know I came in 10th place.
Nice.
I came in 10th place. And I wasn't looking at my time super close then. I was just trying to get there to the finish line.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
High five.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was what month? And then when were your other races?
That was June. So that was June. Did that 15-miler. I came in 10th. Then the next month, July, I did a 20-miler, and I came in 5th place on that one.
Okay. Jeez. Okay.
And that was a crazy run. 3 miles into it, I didn't know anything about like gaiters or anything. And I seen people wearing them, and I ended up with a rock in my shoe. And I probably should have stopped, but I ended up going about 17 miles with the rock hindering my right shoe. And I was telling my wife about it at the end. She's like, we just stopped, and then I would have got 6th place, because these people, we were going back and forth pretty good about the whole time. It's stupid, I know. Yeah.
Dang. No, dude, that's not stupid. I mean, dang. I mean, I don't run with gaiters usually. But they do look super helpful for stopping those rocks from going in. I had not trail socks, but like for the last while, I've just been wearing regular running socks. But some of the running socks have like this lip at the back where the heel is. And they let tons of rocks into your sock. Yeah. It's like worse than your shoe because you have to now empty your sock out.
It funnels it in there. I just switched to crew. I just switched to the crew ones, the higher ones.
Yeah. Yes. Good on you. That's what I started doing recently. I was doing like high ankle. They're not crew.
Oh yeah.
They're not all the way up to crew level, but they're like higher ankle and they cinch around the ankle. So like nothing's getting in there now. But geez, yeah. Pro tip, don't wear running socks that have like an opening where rocks can get in there. But then with the shoes too, like, yeah, I mean, if you don't wear gaiters, you run that risk of getting freaking rock in your shoe and ruining your life over
it's annoying.
several miles.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. The
And then you have to
socks
stop
and
to
shoe
get out.
combo. It's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But hey, dude, you got 7th place, you said?
5th place.
5th place?
Yeah,
Goodness
5th
gracious.
place.
Out of how many people?
That's a good question. I can't remember. I think there was 30, 35. It wasn't huge.
Yeah, but not small either. I mean, 5th place out of 30 whatever people. That's super awesome.
Yeah. I'm not fast by no means.
And these were all trails. Well, you seem like you're killing it, dude. But these the marathon, was that in August or did you say it was later?
That was in October. So that was later that fall.
October. Okay, see. Yeah, so you got some months in between. What was I going to ask? This wasn't a trail marathon, was it? Was it a road or a trail?
It was a road.
Road. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this marathon, what was training looking like for the marathon leading up to it? So, I mean, you did the 20 miler in July, but then you had quite a gap there between October, right? So do you remember how many miles you're putting in every week, and were you like, yeah, what did training look like? And did you have a goal for the marathon?
Training, it was super tough because we had our daughter and she was, very young at this age. And it was a crazy year for us. My wife had surgery, and then after surgery, we went up the next day. I think she became dehydrated. She was all and well, but it was super hard doing the training and stuff with her, than my son too, because I stayed really close to home, kind of referencing that quarter-mile loop across from my house. I remember one night I came because I worked. I'm on day shift now, but I worked on the evening, so I would get home at 11 o'clock, and when they were sleeping, that's when I would run. That was the majority of all my running, was at nighttime, and so we went to the after her surgery. She had to get an IV. She got rehydrated and all that, and all was well. But we came home, and I don't know what it was, probably around 7, 8, 9 miles or so I wanted to get in that night. So I came home and I was doing loops across the street here, staying close. She texted me and said, "Hey, I need your help, with the baby, change her." So I came home, got her changed, taken care of. And at this point, I was outside of my house doing laps around the house saying, "I'm outside the house now. If you need me, text me or call me." So I was just doing circles around the house at midnight, one in the morning. I don't know what, it was crazy. And just stuff like that. It's crazy where you got to slip in the miles for me, like when I could, and with balancing the family too and a job. And I was around 25 miles a week or so, maybe.
Okay. Man, you're a good husband.
Thanks.
High five.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's super solid that you were there for her. and hard, because you've got this goal and you don't want to let it go. But you have these competing priorities, and that's really hard. Yeah, I feel that. I've got my family, and I'm running my first ultramarathon probably the week after my son is going to be born, which is ridiculous.
When's this?
I didn't plan that. I didn't plan that out. Yeah, it's going to be in August.
Oh, sweet.
August 17th is the ultra,
Okay.
but baby's due a week before that. So yeah, we're just going to make it happen.
That's
We'll
awesome.
have some
Yep.
family helping out, and we'll be good. Yeah, anyway, so I get it. Like, it's really hard
Will that be your,
balancing that, but good for you for being there.
it'd be your first
Sorry.
kid, or
What were you saying?
do you have any other kids, or?
Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah. This is my second kid. So we've got a daughter that's 2.5.
Okay.
And this will be our first son.
Okay.
This will be our second kid.
Awesome. Okay. Very cool. Well, it'll be really cool photos at the end. You got a newborn, and you could, that's awesome. Good memories. It makes them better. It makes those runs better, I think.
That's true. That's right. So good for you. Were you like super sick of it after running loops around your house, man? That would be the worst.
Oh yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I'm not even going to mention the motion sensors going off, and then it was just crazy. But I usually stick to my number pretty good. If I say, hey, I'm going to go out and get 7, 8 miles, whatever, I usually try my best to get that number. So it don't always happen, but.
How many miles did you do around your house, dude?
Oh, I can't even remember. I got 2 texts. I got 3 texts. So I got the initial one. So I got moved closer to the house. I got another text. And then the third one, I'm like, I better just stay inside at this point. The heart rate was just all over. And yeah. It was wild. I'll never forget that. I don't think she probably will either. It was cool. Yeah. So shout out to her. She's super. Thanks. I couldn't do any of this without her. She's my number one support fan. It's awesome. It works out.
That's sweet. Super important. Okay, so that's the kind of miles you're putting in 20, 25 miles a week, training for this marathon. And sometimes you had to stick it close to home. So how did the marathon go? You can go into a decent summary of it. We won't go into as much detail as your first ultra coming up.
Okay.
But tell us the lowdown. Like, how'd you feel before? How'd you feel during the race and such?
I was having some ankle issues after that 20-mile trail race. I was trying to kind of baby that a little bit. I ended up wearing a brace. Started with the brace on. I finished with the brace on, whatever. I ran it with a really good friend of mine. And we just kind of just paced one another up until the end pretty much. It was very hilly. That was pretty rough. And we were good. We were both, our fitness levels, our miles, we were very neck and neck. I think right around the half marathon mark, it split off. And that's when it kind of hit on. It's like we still got a long ways to go. And I'm a middle of the packer at best. He started cramping up pretty good. It's like salt, kind of low on salt. And my legs hit, started hurting pretty good. And this is crazy. So I would chew gum during my training. I would always chew gum. I don't know if it was like just tension or just kept my mind off my legs or whatever. Anyways, mile 17, I hear this crunch and I lost my back tooth. So I spit my tooth out and my buddy looks at me and is like, what is that? Like, what's going on here? I'm like, I just lost my tooth. Let's get this done. So I have a gold crown now. So I will always remember that marathon. Finished it. That was sloppy. I finished it though. I wasn't breaking no land speed records by no means, but about 5.5 hours.
Your tooth?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
I guess I had so many fillings. I didn't know this. I can't remember when I was a kid. I had so many fillings in there. I guess I didn't lose the whole tooth, but the majority of that sucker was fillings and just the gum and the pressure. You know, I never had gum in my mouth that long, and just I was probably grinding my teeth, and just my tooth went a big old, pool of blood, and It was like the only thing I could think was like run faster. Let's just get to the finish line because this is not fun at this point. It's mile 17. Yeah.
Goodness. That is nuts, dude. Not only is mile 17 just suck because it's getting late in the miles, but goodness gracious, your mouth's all bloody up from this
so crazy
tooth that pops out.
I'm definitely not going to Boston or anything like that.
Dude, that's distracting.
It was.
Did you like stop for a second? You're like, oh my heck.
No, we kind of kept going. I don't know what I was thinking at that point.
Yeah.
I was definitely kind of worried pretty good.
I would be. Did you go to the dentist after, or like?
Yeah, I went to the dentist. She just kind of said, "Hey, what happened?" I was like, "Well," kind of told her the story. She's like, "Okay." So I got a gold crown there now, so that'll be there in memory of that marathon.
In memory,
yeah, it's a sloppy.
That's your trophy.
So sloppy, yeah. It was cool. The finish was cool. They made it through. It was something. Won't forget that.
Yeah, dude. No, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing, man. That's a crazy story, dude.
Yeah.
Losing your
don't chew gum.
Filling. I had a cracked filling. Yeah, don't chew gum. I had a cracked filling just like a few months ago, and I went into the dentist, and they're like, "Yeah, you've got a new cavity forming in the good part of your back molar because it cracked, and there's like crap getting in there." And I was like, "Oh, fuck."
I hate that."
So yeah, fillings die. I wish I could go to younger self and be like, "Hey, you should brush your teeth better so you don't have to deal with broken fillings later."
Yeah, for sure. Less sugar, all that stuff. It's crazy. Don't think about it. You don't think about it until you're older.
No. Dang. Well, good for you for finishing, man. I mean, that's really what it's all about. You finished your first marathon, and like, how'd you feel when you finished? Like, aside from your tooth being weird, how'd you feel?
It was good. The whole feelings was just, I was on this. I had that that high going for quite a while. I told my wife. She's like, "Hey," I was like, the first thing I told her was I lost my tooth. She's what? It was cool. It was really good. It was a really good time. I felt super stoked. It just, that high lasted for days.
Good. I'm glad you felt good. Yeah, I ask everyone how they feel when they cross the finish line. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's like, I'm exhausted. I want to go home and not do this ever again. So
yeah, it was a good hurt. It was a good hurt. I embraced that.
Cool. So you ran this marathon, and I know you ran a 50K. So what led you after that to sign up for this 50K?
That was kind of the build up after I, it hit them, 15, 20, then the marathon. I said, my ultimate goal wasn't to do one ultra marathon. And I found one pretty, fairly close to home here. It's a very flat course. It's it was in the Flint Hills of Kansas. It's kind of like a crushed, real fine gravel road, 50K. And I said, I'd probably better do that one. It's, I should do it. So I signed up for it and finished that. That was April 9th. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm. So we had your marathon in October, and then, we're skipping through winter, and what's winter like in Kansas City?
Oh man, it gets
or near Kansas City where you are.
It gets brutal here. So I kept training and all that, and I usually don't like to let the weather stop me. The coldest I was out was 4. I had a picture of it. I had ice, all that stuff hanging. It was 4. And it might have been better, but I was on evening, so I was doing all this at night. So I kept the training going.
Right.
And I'd get out of work. I'm walking out, it's sleet or rain, and I was like, well, kind of what's on the schedule today? And 4, 5, 10 miles, whatever. Yeah, it was 4 is the coldest. It gets cold, icy. It get pretty rough here.
Yeah. Did you do most of your training? You said there's a trail next to your house, so most of your training was on the trail, or was it most of it on the road?
I hit our trail here. Our town is really small. Like I said, there's less than maybe 1,000 people now, but I'll usually loop that, and then I will basically I've got a few routes here in town, and I'll just run the streets. So no traffic. I'm the only one out there. Just, I kind of know where the street lights are and every pothole, and, that's just kind of been my jam for a long time. I can, do that with my eyes closed now.
Nice. You're that one weird guy in town that runs.
I am, yeah.
Why is that guy always running?
Since I've been on a different shift into the daylight, I've actually met some people too before there. It's been pretty cool. Run's done quite a bit for me, so. But
Good.
yeah, I'm surprised the cops never
running people.
Yeah, I'm surprised the cops never check me out or anything. What's going on here? It's like a crazy man.
Crazy man running. Yeah. Yeah, I don't catch many people running the streets where I'm at, but I don't know if that's because they're all on the trail. I don't know. I go through phases where sometimes I'm on the road more than I am the trail. But anyway. Okay, so you're putting in these winter miles, and it's cold, and it's freaking 4 degrees, and you're training at night.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, which is good for you, dude. It gets cold here too, and it's hard to get out there when it's so cold and your face wants to fall off because of how cold it is. It doesn't snow though. It's just really rainy and icy
and windy. I was going to ask about how the winters were over there.
Yeah, here it's very snowy because we're high elevation. Yeah, it gets deep.
Oh yeah.
Usually, if it's a good snow year, but yeah. So
you have a treadmill?
That's how it is here. No, I have a walking treadmill. I got 2 right back here. We're on the video right now for anyone listening to the audio. But yeah, we got 2 walking treadmills here. One's for my wife. The bigger one here is for me, and they're just for walking. They don't go fast. So no, when it's winter, I'm outside still, whether it's snowing or not, and it's good because I'd rather be outside anyways.
Oh yeah.
And I have the gear, so it works. Got my Gore-Tex shoes and rain jacket if it's snowing real good. Most of the time I'll just be out there anyways, but yeah. Eric, so were you putting in similar miles during the winter, like to your marathon? You're putting like 20-25 a week?
Yeah, it was pretty
miles
similar.
a week, or were you doing more?
It was pretty similar. I stayed around the 20-25 mark, try to run a little bit further on the weekends occasionally when I could.
Nice. Cool. And for this 50K, were you thinking about nutrition at all? Like, oh yeah, I'm going to take like this electrolyte supplement while I'm running at like this stage, or this many minutes I'm going to take this, gels and like food too. Were you thinking about any of that sort of stuff? Or?
Yeah, I was. I started using Tailwind. I really like that stuff. It's got your calories, electrolytes,
nice.
all that stuff in it. So it's kind of all in there. And I was, I had the vest that had the the water bottles on each side. So I would try to I had a couple scoops in each, and I would try to do 1 per hour. Kind of is the recommendation. So That did me pretty good.
Nice. How much sodium is in one of those Tailwind scoops or packets?
Oh, I can't remember.
If you know.
I can't remember.
That's okay.
I think it's
if you
around a
don't
couple
remember.
100 milligrams per one scoop. I think it's somewhere in there.
Okay. I ask if you're on. Well, maybe I could look it up.
Yeah.
I ask because it makes a difference. Like some of them have like 300 milligrams of sodium. The one I have is 500. And then there's like Element or LMNT.
Oh yeah, I've seen
has
that.
like 1,000 in a packet.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that. I never used it.
It's like a lot.
I always wonder if like I don't want to, overdo it, but
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it better to underdo it or overdo it?
yeah,
though?
good question. I need to figure this out.
don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know. I know it says, 1 scoop this, 2 scoops this. Yeah, I think you can go up to like 3 scoops for long efforts. I haven't done 3 scoops yet. I might experiment with that here in the future.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here. I mean, there's different types, different packets, but it looks like this one has 25 grams of sugar, which is awesome. So you're getting some good carbs from that, and then 310 milligrams of sodium, which like I think is relatively low. So you have to tell us when we go through the story of your ultra, like how you did, like how your muscles were doing and whatever, if you were getting crampy. But anyway, interesting. Thanks for telling us about what you were using. Did you use any like edibles, or did you get all your calories through the Tailwind pretty much?
I grabbed I grabbed a goo, I think it was a goo gel pack on the way back. I didn't experiment with them a whole lot.
Cool.
So I kept it kind of what I know until knew it would be good on my stomach, and I tried a couple on the way back. They were good.
Cool. Awesome. Well, okay. So April, your first ultra is here.
Yeah.
50K. You said it was pretty flat. Do you remember what the elevation gain loss was?
If I had to guess, maybe 200 or 300. Just when it was it crossed a couple rural roads. It was very flat.
Okay. Super flat. That's crazy.
Flint Hills. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. Entry level, like 50K. I wish we had something like that in Utah, but we don't. They're all in the mountains. What was I going to ask? What was it called?
Again, it's called Flint Hills Mile Zero.
Flint Hills Mile Zero.
I guess it started at the Mile Zero marker of that trail system, which is pretty cool. And it used to be it was a rails or trails course. I guess a train track used to be there. They've converted it to a trail system.
Oh, cool.
So most of it had a canopy. It was covered from the trees and stuff growing.
Oh, nice. That is very nice. Okay. Eric, in as much detail as you remember, I would love for you to recount the 50K. It was only 2 months ago-ish.
Yeah.
So I imagine you remember a pretty good amount, but like from how you slept the night before, what you ate for breakfast.
Okay.
Anything else that happened in the morning, like how you felt on your way there. And then when the race starts, how you feel when the race starts, anything notable that happens during the race, all the way until you reach the finish line. Tell us how it went down.
So I said lots of preparation, stuck to my training plan, going in feeling good. I think I left work early that night. No, not much sleep. We ended up in the urgent care with our daughter. She got dehydrated, stomach bug. She ended up being awesome. They gave her a couple Sprites and good to go. And so around midnight, yeah, it was crazy. All the timing.
Dude.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we
but she
actually
was just
two
dehydrated, huh?
urgent cares. Yeah, the first one wasn't for children. They said you need to go here, and so we went over here,
Oh, jeez.
another location, and there was a stomach bug going around. She was just dehydrated. They gave her some. I'm sorry, not Sprite. They gave her some Gatorade. Some made her. She kept that down and good to go. So it was get her back, get to bed. It's midnight, 1 in the morning or so. I think I got up at. God, I got up at like 5. I was probably running on maybe 3 or 4 hours,
Oh,
somewhere in there. And
goodness
yeah,
gracious.
and my dad was visiting. He's from Texas, so he was up here in Missouri with us. So he drove me to this race, and my wife stayed home with the kids, and which they met me later at the finish line. But thank goodness he was here. We got there early, checked in. Just the waiting around, anticipation. I think we got there too early. Anyways,
Yeah.
Had my vest on, 2 scoops of Tailwind in each water bladder, and I was planning to run around maybe a 12:30, a 13-minute pace, just kind of slow and I wanted to run the whole thing without walking, and the buzzer goes off,
Nice.
and I just kind of take off like a madman. I'm running towards the back of the pack where I started, and I look down at my watch, and eventually I'm getting to it was mile 7, and so I had my ankle issues kind of still hindering me. They went away for a long time. I get to mile 7 and my ankle starts in. I didn't have a brace with me or nothing. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be a long time. And I'm only at mile 7, it's hurting. It went away, thank goodness. I probably ran from mile 7
Nice.
to 8 or 9, maybe. It wasn't that long, and it went away, and I was awesome. No problems.
Nice.
And I was running everyone's still packed together, and I was wanting to run, like I said, 11:30, 12-minute or something. I look down, I'm running 10:30s and feeling good. I held that for quite a while, and then I left this pack. I get another pack, and again, I looked down at my watch, and I'm running 9:30s, so I'm way off what I had planned here, and I'm low on water. I had my watch set to I was going to take a bottle every hour. I could feel myself kind of like dehydrating. I need more than that. I found out. So I had the tailwinds that come in the packable size. You can take them with you. So I remember ripping them off when I could see the aid station coming, so I could pour them in there. Powder's blowing everywhere. I've never done. I should have practiced that. I never practiced that before. Get them in there, and I take off again. I'm still doing 9:30s. Pretty close. It was a turn down and back turnaround, and then I get to the turnaround, and I paid for it on the way back. My legs hurt so bad. I ended up doing a lot of walking after mile 15, 16, 17. After mile 17, I walked quite a bit.
Okay. Were you doing like a run walk sort of thing? Like, I'm gonna walk a quarter mile, like run the rest of the mile, or like, I don't know. Were you doing something like that, or was it just kind of how you felt?
Yeah,
I feel.
I started doing that. I started to try and run for 3/4 of a mile or further than walk, a quarter, a tenth at most. That didn't last too awfully long. I did that for a few miles. And so it was around 19 or 20. I started having to just go off, just feel. And then the sun came up, and there was a few sections that were fairly open to the sun, some like really grassy meadows. It was beautiful out there. And I guess I could really feel myself dehydrating, and I would walk and try to stay in the shade as much as possible. So when I was going to walk, I was going to be in the shade of a tree. And then when it was sun, I was going to run again. That was kind of what I'd done up until around mile 20, 22 or so. And we got back into we started getting back into the tree canopy, shady section. And I had my music going. I had it off for most of the race, but I turned it on because I was kind of by myself at this point. And a guy had ran up behind me and passed me, scared the heck out of me. Couldn't hear him. I had my music going. I jumped and got my second win. I said, I'm going to try to pace with this guy for a while. So we ended up going a few miles, probably, I'd say we got into the 25-mile mark or so, just battling, I guess you would say, I was on his left side and he was on my right, and we were just back and forth for quite a ways. He finally pulled ahead of me, and I said, I'm just going to walk at this point. And I looked down at my watch. I think I was around mile 25 or 26. I remember looking down, like, I just hit a marathon. I was walking and that guy was gone. And close to 27 or 28 after the marathon, I walked a little ways, and then I just got another win. I said, I'm going to go do a slow jog all the way in because family's up there, pictures, all that stuff. And I wanted to finish running. And I caught back up to this guy, and I see the finish line coming. He has no idea I'm coming up behind him, and I'm coming in a pretty good clip, and he's walking at this point, and I went to pass him, and I was like, I felt bad because he had no idea I was back there. I'm like, I'm not going to pass this guy right at the finish line like this. And he took off, like really took off when he seen me out of his peripheral, and I scared him too. And I said, I'm going to tuck behind you. He said, it's yours. Because I just wanted to finish this 50K running, and I did.
Nice. That's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, there's that like competitive thing that comes at the end of the race where you're like, I'm gonna beat you to the finish line, you guy next to me. That's funny. I totally relate to that. I've done the same thing. Well, dude, you jogged it in, and you hit the finish line. How'd you feel when you crossed the finish line? How are you feeling, like mentally, emotionally, and physically? How are you feeling?
It was awesome. I'd say mentally, kind of the build up. I don't know if it was a little bit more than the marathon. It was just different. Kind of knowing I had done, all the miles, all the training, and then the family was there. Just the way kind of everything went down. My ankle held together. I had fun. The little, dueling. It was just, I remember lots of stuff on the way down, lots of stuff on the way back like that. It was the whole, mental, emotional. It was awesome. It's hard to explain for me. It was just the wife and kids were there, and my dad. It was cool. I made a little reel of it on my Instagram. It turned out pretty cool. Got some walking in there. You can kind of see some of that. And but my legs, man, it was another story. It was brutal. My legs hurt so bad. Feet. I think I ended up losing a toenail on that one. Just yeah.
What makes you lose a toenail?
Oh, I think I found out I have like kind of whitish feet. Like they don't look white. I stepped on one of them things once in a running store, and they're like, "No, they're normal." But
yeah,
I don't know.
They told me that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess around for my next. I'm gonna mess around with some of them wider toe box shoes. I don't know if you've seen those, like Topo Ultra, stuff like that. Yep. So all my shoes I have are good, for 20, 30 miles or so, but I wouldn't want to go any further than that, I don't think. It's something I need to test out.
Yeah. Just test out when you do your next ultramarathon. Yeah.
Losing something all the time, teeth, toenails. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. What will you lose next?
Yeah, that's just, I'm going to hold it together. I just promise.
Yeah. Hopefully it's nothing serious. Lose your hat next time. Make it not a body part.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. That's sick, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Passing the finish line, finishing strong, jogging in, and I'm glad you felt good mentally and emotionally, and it makes sense to be wrecked after physically after anyways. So man, you did it, and that's sweet.
Thank you.
You're an ultra marathoner.
Yeah, thank you.
Ultra marathoner.
Yeah, it feels good. Thank you.
Yeah. So you finished this 50K. How long until you started running again? Just curious. Did you take some time off?
I started the next day.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably what I do is probably not the best. So no one listen to me on this. Losing stuff, obviously. I'm not the smartest. So I felt like pretty
Lost
good.
Your
really.
marbles too.
What's that?
Said lost your marbles too.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. The next day I went out and I went to, I did my little route here very slow. I kind of jog a little bit to see if I could do it. Like maybe like a recovery run. I should have probably stayed on the couch. But I did walking off and on that week and light jogging. And then the next week I kind of went back to normal. I started at about 15 miles and I got back up to my normal around 25 or so. Within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Good for you, dude.
Thank you.
When I finished my marathon, I didn't run like the entire next week. I think I did some walking, and then I kept my miles very low after that too, because I knew I had some gap between that and my next races. But
yeah, for sure.
Good for you for like getting the miles back up quick. It does stink to lose the training. Like,
yeah,
you worked up to this point, and then if you lose that, I can imagine that would be really rough. I didn't lose much, but I did lose some. I've had to build it back up.
Yeah, that's good though. Recovery is super important. I need to work on that. That's my goal.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to have the balance. Like, it's hard to know. I mean, without a coach, we're just self-coaching here, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned you had a training plan, and I forgot to ask you like where you got that. If it was like an internet training plan or you made it yourself, or
so for the 50K, I kind of stuck to around my 25. I think I got up to like 30 or so miles.
Yeah,
probably 80 or 90% slow. I didn't really do any speed work, much of that.
Yeah.
I stuck to that. And I did weight training too. I've taken a little bit of time off that from doing that.
Nice.
I developed a bad case of tennis elbow. Got KT tape on there right now. But I would, I'm still doing leg stuff, body weight leg stuff. But yeah, I try to lift 3 days a week now, and 30 miles a week ish.
Nice. For your 50K, did you have a specific training plan that you found, or did you just kind of put that together yourself?
Not really. I just kind of put it together myself.
Nice, dude. That's sick. I've been doing the same thing so far, and I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
I've kind of looked at some 50K training plans, and I kind of just like have that in my head, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put in this many miles ish, and I'm going to increase it over time.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm mainly winging it based off of smart people. So hopefully that's good enough.
Yeah, for sure. Just, I'm trying to really pay attention to that 10% rule now. I'm not trying to amp up more than 10 miles week to week, because I've done that in the past.
Yeah, that's a great rule.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, dude, I know you have future goals and plans. what led you to sign up for that 100-miler that you mentioned offline?
So back to kind of reading that book again and hearing about all this epic stuff that people can do, if they put some work in. I found this really cool trail, and so far, like trails are my jam. I love it. And I seen a 50K there, and I was like, I just did that in April, and then I seen a 75 and 100. I'm like, let's just do the 100 and get it done, because I know if I do a 75 miler, I'm going to eventually do the 100. I said, let's just do it and get it done. Trails are really cool looking, really pretty. And I think I have enough time. It's September 7th. So I've been training for that for, I think I kind of mapped it out a little bit as 18 weeks. Probably not enough for a 100 miler, but I'm going to attempt it, see what happens.
Yeah, man. You said you're running like 30 miles right now. Are you going to build that up even more to a peak of some bigger number?
Yeah, I'm going to try to peak out around 60. I would like to be 100-mile weeks, but I'm not going to make it there in time. So my right ankle is awesome now. So I signed up Saturday. My left ankle just started bothering me a little bit. So now I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm doing, I'm kind of going off time now. So I know in 1 hour, I normally go 5 miles. So if I'm going to go, 10 miles, I'll just walk for 2 hours if I have to. So I'd rather go in feeling good than going in high mileage and kind of, borderline injured. So,
yep,
that's kind of the plan there. I might end up 40 or 50 miles a week, but
yeah, okay, solid, dude. Do you know what is happening for sure with your ankle?
I'm not sure. My left one's never bothered me until just recently. I don't know. My right one it's fine now. Just too many miles too soon, honestly. I kind of know I've overtrained a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
So I've started some on my home workouts. I do like ankle stability stuff now, and a lot of body weight, single leg exercise. That's fairly all new to me, and I wish I'd been doing it longer, especially for the trails. Because I didn't start getting sore till I started doing some trail stuff. So,
well, you're smart. You are one other person who is here to inspire me to do strength training. So thank you for doing it, because everyone that says they do it pushes me a little bit closer to actually doing it.
Yeah.
So
you can do a lot of stuff. No equipment, just body weight. Mine takes 30 minutes. I'm doing it right now like 3 times a week. Super easy.
Yeah, man. I know it. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
Do it one time, and then it'll be like easier to keep it going, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to find the time. Time's
Yeah. Exactly. Like we're already training so much. It's like, now I just got to find another 30 minutes to do this part of training.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, yeah. Maybe during my next podcast, I'll just get up and like start doing some Bulgarian split squats or something.
Yeah,
just, like, getting it in. That's sick, man. I'm looking forward to hearing how your 100-miler goes in September. That's fantastic. What a jump! Forget that 50-mile distance. Like, let's just go do 100, man.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Big jump.
That's sweet.
Thank you.
Well, we'll keep in contact. Let me know how it goes.
For sure.
And Eric, to leave us off here, I'd love to have you share, if you had one last final piece of advice for that new person that is thinking about signing up for their first 50K race. They're, unsure if they could pull it off. I don't know. what would you tell that person?
I would definitely say sign up first. Don't overthink it. And don't think about, said maybe not the best advice, but don't think about the training too much. You don't have to hit, I don't think you have to hit this X amount of miles, this X amount of miles, and this, because I've seen people get hurt on training plans, on and off training plans. You know your body, you can feel it. You know what you can and can't do, and you can always take, the intensity down. You don't have to come in podium, break no records out there. You can hike, walk, jog, just do it. You'll be hooked. Once you finish, it'll be worth it. So
sick. It's great advice, dude. It's great advice. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll keep up with you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Hey, your host Brendan here. I just wanted to thank you personally for listening to today's episode. As someone preparing for my own first ultramarathon, I've found these conversations to be super valuable, and I hope they are for you as well. Whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or somewhere else, make sure to follow or subscribe so you know when the next episode comes out. Also, make sure you check out the show notes of this episode. There's a link to sign up for the Ordinary to Ultra email newsletter, to join our Facebook and Strava groups where you can meet other people striving to run their first ultra marathon, and see any links that our guests may have provided as well. Thanks again, and we'll catch you in the next episode.